So my favorite track on the new record is Night In. I love
Ooh.
it because I'm like an introvert, I'm just like every night I'm cool, just like hanging out. And, so tell me, I would love to hear about kind of the inspiration behind that one.
Night In is because we need one. Like me and my friend Jessica, when we started the song together, we were like in her house or in her apartment. We are like, she had made us this great meal. And this was like our first hang outside of a studio or a songwriter's room. We were like, we're going to be friends outside of music. And then we get together and we do music. And then it's so funny. We were like, we just need a night in. We don't need to go out. We don't need to like figure out what place to go to or like we actually just need to be in the house and we need to watch Cruella DeVille and we need to like, cook some salmon or something. And so that's where we started that song. It was really just we just wanted to make a cute little song for the introverts because the extroverts always have the fun, like dope ass, rocking ass songs.
Totally.
Like they always get like the hyper energetic songs. And I'm just like, but what happens when like you really feel this way, but about being home? Like imagine pajamas. Like that's exciting, running from room to room, doing stupid, crazy things. And so that's kind of where that song came in. And recording it was really fun. Recording it, I remember looking at my producer, Daniel Tash, and it was like, can we just have the drums and the guitar do like, bah, 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 bah. I was like, can we do that? Like, it made me feel like the movies I watched as a kid that I love. It made me feel like 10 Things I Hate About You. It made me feel a little bit like, I mean, not exactly like not sonically, but like Save the Last Dance, all those like teen boppies that I love so much. It made me feel like that when I got the nerve one day to finally text Mary and it was like, do you want to sing on this song? She was like, yeah, I like the lyric. Let's do it. So we went to the studio, we did it. And then I ended up drafting some of my other friends. I was like, well, Mickey Guyton and Abby Cone and Fancy Haygood, like, would you guys want to do like this phone call thing with me? Like, just
I was
like
gonna
we could
ask
be like a
about that.
kid.
The track before it is like
Yeah.
this phone call, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm listening into some fun conversation.
Exactly. And I think my favorite part is that it's literally just us like arguing over whether or not to go out.
So real.
And that's literally what happens though. Me and my friends were like, okay, all right, let's bargain. All right, if we don't go out, we can do this. But if we go out, then like, I don't know, I'll pick you up or something. Like we have to bargain with each other, if we actually are going to like go out. And so I liked how real it felt. And it was I don't know, this whole album is just like a wonderful nerve-wracking process for me. And I stretched myself in so many ways. I'm like, I asked my friends to be a part of it. I asked my friends to sing on it, to do a little skit with me on it. I don't know, I was in the middle of recording and touring at the same time. There were times where like we'd be in the studio and Daniel would say, um, actually, for musical purposes, I think we actually need to elongate this verse. That's actually what we did on Night In. He's like, I think we need to like make this verse a little longer. So can you write some more words? I was like, okay, all right, cool. So I'm just like writing on the spot and it was fun. It was nice and stretching. I was so exhausted most of the time. And I think it ended up working out where it's just, I don't know, it feels way more raw. It feels way more honest. Even as I listen to some of these songs, like you can hear, like I thought some of these vocals were going to be demos and they end up being like the final take because it has so much emotion in it. I will argue the emotion was exhaustion. But when I listen to it, I'm like, it sounds like how I feel though. It does something for the lyric. It heightens the lyric in a way that's really cool. And I kind of like that. I want to be a person that, I don't know, the lyric sounds the way you think it should, or the way you think it feels.
I think that helps you like feel the emotion too with the music.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm a Virgo. I'm such a perfectionist. I'm a 1 wing 2 on the Enneagram. I'm very, very aware of how critical and how perfectionist I try to be. And I don't know, I'm just like throwing myself in the water. I want to rough some shit up. Like I'm trying to intentionally protest perfectionism. Like I just think it's whack. And I think it serves its purpose when it comes in play. It helps you to try and be the best that you can be. But I don't know. I just, if it's a rough lyric, it should sound rough.
Yeah.
If the lyric makes you want to cry, then you should just fucking cry. If it's a heartbreaking lyric, I think it should sound that way. And so I was really proud of myself for stretching myself on this record. But Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's hard to just be vulnerable, not just in the lyrics that you write or even in how you present the project, but just allowing your voice, allowing your instrument to sound as flawed as you feel. That's actually hard, I think. And but I'd rather be there in that space. I'd rather be honest. I'd rather be real, even if it's wrong.
I think that vulnerability is really beautiful and people can relate to that. And I think if it's a vulnerable lyric, getting that across in the emotion and the cracking of the voice or whatnot, I agree. It might not be perfect, but it's perfect for that moment, you know? I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense because I think being real is what is the ultimate like connector, I think, of people.
Mhm.
Like I think about like even in my life, like I don't want to be friends with somebody who's always right. I want to be friends with somebody who's trying, trying their best and they get it wrong, but they followed their heart. They did the thing that they thought was the right move and it wasn't. They made a mistake. Something happened. It was failure. I'd rather be with those people, who are just trying to make the best of life and live a full life. And I just think if you're always aiming to have all the answers and do everything right and to try and be as perfect as you can be, I think that gives you half a life. And I don't want that.
I'm actually wondering, you've been here 11 years, you mentioned. Did you ever feel pushback, like being a woman in the industry?
It's hard because it's both. Like I always feel pushed back, like being a woman. I always feel the tension, maybe is probably a word I would describe it as. You constantly, I feel like you are reminded that you are a woman, that you look the way that you look, that you are, there's not that many people that look like you that are, going to the highest part of the mountain right now. And it doesn't mean it hasn't happened, doesn't mean that it can't, but I just constantly feel like I constantly feel like a plus size Black woman in Nashville. And that's not even just a music thing. In general, I constantly feel that. And I find that when I'm reminded of that, that means that something is happening here that makes me feel like who I am has a limit on it, a limitation of how far you can go, what you can do, or, if you can even go as far as someone else. And so it's hard. I'm trying desperately hard to not focus on it so much. I acknowledge it's there. It's definitely there. But I have to feel hopeful about something. Otherwise, if I don't have no hope, I'm just not, I don't know. It'd be like social media. I'm not posting for a week. It'd be like that sort of situation. The good news is that it's not hard to find hope. It's not hard to find hope, especially like in the regards what you just talked about, being a woman in this town. It's not hard because there's so many women who feel the same exact way. It's not hard to find hope, but it's also not hard to find that ceiling, that feeling of otherness, maybe. You feel like an other. Like it's not hard to find that either. Honestly, if I let it can send me spinning, like mentally and emotionally, it can send me spinning because it's like, well, crap, you just feel stuck. I don't know. It can feel that way sometimes.
In the country music realm, I feel like, because I interview a lot of women in different genres, and I'm from the rock and metal world. And in the rock and metal world, it's really an anomaly. Even now, it's better, but to be a woman making that kind of music. And on the outside, it looks like in country, oh, there are so many more women doing this sort of thing. But I'm wondering if on the inside, if there is kind of that feeling that there are a lot of women in country, but maybe a lot of them like have to fit a certain mold.
Oh, it's absolutely that. I think a lot of people feel the pressure to, even with a lot of women, I've talked to like some of my female friends, they feel pressure to write songs that men and women like. I hear songs sometimes and I'm like, this is a guy song that a girl is singing and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not mad at it. I get it. I know people have that pressure,
Right.
or have the pressure to make something more middle of the road country and not do that really cool, innovative thing that they just wrote, a few weeks ago that they really love. It might be a little too off center. Or, there's not a lot of women who have topped the country charts this year without it being a duet with a guy. Like that's a very real thing. People talk about it a lot behind the scenes. They don't necessarily talk about it publicly all the time. I guess that feels risky. Even addressing it feels risky sometimes to people. Just even saying the thing. Me personally, I ain't got shit to lose. I'm having a great time. And I already feel like if I make it, it's like that's an anomaly in itself. And I want it to not be. If I were to really like go as far as I want to in this genre, like the first thing on my brain is, how do we make sure that this isn't like a one-off? How do we make this so it's not an anomaly, and it's not on, like, I can't do anything. I can only do what I can do. And that's too much pressure to put on one person. But I'm also learning, I think the industry might feel like it's too much to put on industry too. I mean, we've been talking about this for a really long time. And I'm the new person in the game. You know, the thing that I don't want to do is go to somebody's house and then, you know, immediately start rearranging furniture. Like, you can't do that, you know? Like, I do want to be honest and say it's actually, you know, discouraging to watch because it's bigger than music. It's much bigger than the songs that we're putting out. It's how people see themselves reflected in the world. It's about people feeling like their stories actually matter. And if you're constantly seeing women reflected in this way, the messaging is that we don't hold as much value. And that's just not true. That's just not true at all. I don't know what to do about it. And so I'm just sitting here making songs, I don't know, talking to you, drinking my protein shake. I don't know. I'm just trying to keep my head down and do what I got to do because I have to give this a chance. Like, I really have to give it a fighting chance. This is my first album that's about to come out. I want to give it all I've got. I'm trying, and I know a lot of people are trying. I know a lot of women, particularly in this industry, in this town, are trying.